Hello my friends, I'm playing with junk again, and today I made this 6.3mm jack, two copper tubes to hold. Well, you may ask, why did I do that? Because I got this one while I was on my trip through Germany in vacation. The postman brought me this, which I bought from eBay for a little bit of money, not too much, about $100 or something. You probably have never seen one of those, so I give you a hint what it is. Let me zoom in. I hope you can read that. Oops, that's too close. It's the Hubbard Professional Mark-7 Super Quantum E-meter, which is used by Scientology to measure or to help people to get clear. That's how they call it. If you don't know about Scientology, there is a lot of documentation in the internet. There are Wikipedia articles about it. And if you know what Scientology is, then, well, just let me proceed. So, what we need is our contraption here with the two tubes. And you plug that in here. But before you plug it in, you have to adjust the meter. So I got lucky, the batteries are still working. And the manual says if nothing is attached here, you have to turn this down to 2, which is indicated here. That's just a digital indicator for this pointer here. So for people who are not able to read an analog pointer, there is also a digital display, 2.00, and then the needles should be at set. That's what the trim button does. It's just like a 0-point adjust on an ohmmeter. Okay. We are ready to measure. This display here, no, let me start with this, is just a normal clock. It's now 6:46 p.m. And this indicator here counts the numbers which are gone down. So if you decrease this handle here, this will add how much you decreased, how many numbers you decreased here. If you go up, it doesn't count, but if you go down, it counts again. Up doesn't count, down counts again. This counting of how much down you get here, or rise or fall, so it counts the amount of fall, well, maybe rise. I'm not so familiar with that. Tells the teacher what his student, if his student is going well. So the more down you have, the better it is. Okay, let's set that again to 2. That is set. We can reset this counter, and now we are ready to attach the two probes. And when I hold them, the needle should rise. Maybe my resistance is a little bit higher. Let's see. I'm going up. Yes. So let's go to the set value here. Okay, and you see, depending on how strong I hold that, needle on the right limit means we have a good conduction or a short circuit probably. Needle totally on the left means no current is flowing. Let's try to set that to the center here. Okay. So the first problem is, depending on how tight I squeeze these things, and I don't have to variate that much. I can play with that needle as much as I want. I can set it to almost any value here. It has a certain filtering, so it reacts on fast changes, but it doesn't react so extremely on slow changes. But the funny thing is, my hands are getting warm, my skin begins to sweat, and my resistance, well, now it tends to rise. So I have to rise that a little bit. Yeah. I tested that when I just got it, and I have to say it's always a little bit different. Yeah, that's about what it does. Measuring the resistance between my hand. As I said, it has a certain filtering, but first let me show you that. So that's an example. Here are the two, they call it cans, that you hold in your hands. There is a simple 6.3 millimeter plug, a jack. One can connects to the tip, the other can connects to the sleeve. And if the connector is plugged out, we have a 5000 ohm resistor internally, which is connected when the plug is unplugged. And this 5000 ohm resistor is disconnected when the plug is in, so we can measure the resistance around here. Let's find out if the meter reacts in the same way to an external resistance. I have my decade box here. I'm connecting it to tube number 1 and tube number 2. Let's turn it on. First, let's switch it back to the desired value of 2. It's still trimmed to the center, to the set point. Okay, now we need 3K and 2K makes 5K, and we are pretty close to the 5K internal resistance. Okay, what happens 4K? 4K is, I think, more or less the lowest possible. 4.4, 4.7, Okay. Oh, I still have the 2K on. Okay. Now, that makes more sense. Okay. 5K is the center. 4K is about the maximum at the right side. 4K, 6K is about the maximum on the other side. Let's give me 5.5K, 5.4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Then for 4.9, is that true? Oh, 2K must be out. 4.9, 8, I can't calculate today, it's too hot. 4.7, 4.6, 5, 4.4, 3, 2, 1, 4K. So we are measuring between 6K and 4K with 5K here at the set point. So if we measure like that, it's just an ohmmeter. What happens if we change that very quickly? Another test that can be found in the user's manual is to set up the external resistance, set a high, not intensity, sensitivity, and to wind up one of the wires, and then take a strong magnet and move it across this coil. So the meter does also register voltage or current changes, which is of course logical because any ohmmeter does exactly that. It registers the current that flows through a resistor, and if you change that current by electromagnetic effects, then it will also change the reading, only on high sensitivity. Okay, we have seen what it does. Let's have a look inside. On the rear we have this stand here, some rubber feet. We have a red LED, a plug for a charger, so I guess there are rechargeable batteries inside. We have one connector that looks like a phone connector. It's a little bit out of shape, and we have this special green connector, probably for reprogramming or whatever. We don't have a serial number plate. Someone has removed that before, maybe to make sure that nobody can tell where this device actually came from. We have three rubber feet with screws underneath. There is no screw here. Okay, let's open it. By the way, if you buy this thing new from Scientology, they will charge you about $5,000 or $7,000 depending which sources you believe. Does it look like a $7,000 device? Well, I don't know. Okay. There's quite a bit of stuff inside. Okay, let me first remove that part here with the back connectors. It looks a bit like a low volume production. A lot of handwork. Okay, that comes off. Okay, they have connectors here. That's easy. I'll reconnect that. We have. It looks pretty new, and also from the outside it doesn't look like it was used a lot. Okay, we have some hot glue, some ferrite cores. That's the battery pack. Let me see how well that is, how healthy it is. These batteries sometimes tend to leak. Yes, they are already leaking. And we have a date code. No, that makes more sense. Date code 0606, so I think that's from 2006. By the way, this is the Mark-7 meter. I have here a picture of the Mark-5 and Mark-6 meter. You see the Mark-6 is already similar to the Mark-7 meter. These pictures are from a book that was printed in 1982. So from 1982 on, they had this shape. Maybe in the 90s they added a third digital counter, a digital LCD display, and I think the rest of the circuit is probably still the same. Well, here there is the charger input. Go to a charger PCB, Mark-7, Mark-567 charger, right hand. There's probably a left hand charger that goes in here, which is not inside this case. Then we have a good quality potentiometer here. It's a, let me see, it's a wire wound, 1, 2, 2.5 turn wire wound pot. These pots alone are worth probably $30. They are not cheap. Then we have a switch here. Is that the switch? Yes, that's the power switch. And here we have the sensitivity switch. Not too cheap things. Then we have potentiometers here. What is it? It's upside down. Let me read that. Yes, that is the name of the manufacturer, Spectral. They make high quality pots, and I can tell you, if you move that handle here, it feels very well. Also this one, because it's the same manufacturer of potty. They are not cheap, they are high quality pot meters, simply because, well, you use them a lot. You also pay a lot for this device, so yeah. Then we have here a test button with an LED. It has, the button has a separate board here. That's the LED. Looks like hot glue or super glue. Here is the input check. Maybe the 5K resistor is somewhere near that. Input check goes to a ferrite core to eliminate any high frequency problems. Then we have an MM5452N. This is, what a surprise, a driver for a 7-segment LCD display, up to 4.5 digits. It has a serial data input, a serial clock, and gets its data from the main board here. Okay, let's see. Potentiometers have been connected to ferrite cores that have been glued down by some hot glue gunk. All the input wires, that's the movement of the analog meter. So what I'm looking for is a CPU. Maybe it's underneath here. No. Okay, I think I need both hands to get that stuff apart. Okay, so I removed a couple of screws and I removed that one from its socket. And surprise, surprise, the PCB here says ATC51, which is an old microcontroller chip, which is obviously not available anymore. So they made this replacement board here with the microchip PIC 18F2423. That's the tiny chip here. They also added a real-time clock. I guess it's a DS. What is it? Let me see. It's a little bit difficult to see. It's DS1337C. Probably a real-time clock, probably only a flash memory. Well, it most likely is a real-time clock because we have a clock. And we have two more LCD drivers underneath here. One for the clock and one for the counter. Clock display PCB. Revision 1 from 1994. Do we have a date code on this? Quantum product version 2.0. No date code here. This thing looks much more modern. Let me see if we can find some date code. No. Maybe I can find one on the chip. 103. Well, 2009 probably. What do we have here? 09. Sounds like 2000 and, well, is that possible? I said the batteries are from 2006. No, I think, okay, strange. Maybe they put in some old batteries. No, not really a date code here. Okay, something between 2006 and 2009 probably. We have a date code here. Well, what shall I say? Maybe $5,000 is a little bit too much for this thing. It seems to be a low volume production. It seems to have a lot of handwork here. It has very good components. For example, I like the potentiometers, switches are quality stuff. So the multi-turn trimmers here, the material is not bad, but it certainly is not worth thousands of dollars. Maybe 200, 400, something like that. Okay, what's on the PCB here? We have CD4106, that's CMOS chips, probably some switching chips or whatever, some logic. There is a programmed something. Okay, and a chip without marking. Yeah, they have their secrets. They want to keep their secrets. That's okay. Well, I think that's about. There's the Max-713 CPE on the charger. Let me see the data sheet. Well, can't find the data sheet right now, but it's a fast charge control chip for nickel cadmium and nickel metal hydride batteries. And that's the battery pack. We have 1, 2, 3, 7 batteries. That makes 8.4 volts. Something like that. They are all in series and they are all pretty badly leaking, but they still provide enough power for this thing to work, which is amazing. So if I replace this battery, the whole unit will be like new, and maybe I will sell it again. Okay, thanks for watching.